Morning, everyone. It's good enough. It's already 2 past 11, so let's start with the session. I hope I'm audible for everyone, guys. Okay. See, the session for today, the session we are going for is about structured answer writing, right? How to understand the nature of the structure, how the nature of the structure should be, and how to structure it at the end of the day. Especially the problems which we face, we write answers, but those answers are not exactly in accordance with the demand of the question. Okay. The question is asking something else. We write whatever we know. We write everything in the answer. Now, the moment we are going for structured answer writing, the first and foremost thing is we need to understand the demand of the question. Right. So let's see how overall the approach of answer writing should be. Now, before I start this session, let me make it clear once again. This is the second workshop in a series of 3 workshops, right? We have already conducted one workshop from some 15 days back. That workshop was on writing writing skill development. It was more on how to write grammatically correct, how to go for sentence formations, right? And then to improve the quality of writing as such, right? After that, this is the second workshop, which is on structured answer writing. Next Sunday, we'll go for the third workshop, which will be on presentation of the answers, right? So now let's see, when we talk about structured answer writing, what do we actually mean and how to approach that, how to do that? Okay, so to do that, the first thing that I'll be talking about is that anyone, whomsoever it might be, first think of the demand of the question, why the question has been asked in such a specific way, right? See, in civil services examination, unlike our school or college examinations, here the answer will be properly read, right? So, and based on the answer that you have given, the examiner is going to give you marks. Now, here one more thing which becomes very crucial to understand. See, the examiner does not know you. The examiner is going to know you by reading your answer, right? Whether you're writing grammatically correct English or not, whether the sentence formations are proper or not, right? Whether you're making any spelling mistake or not. And at the same point of time, the answers which you're writing, they are actually conveying your idea, your understanding to the examiner. The examiner is not going to come and ask you about the topic. The examiner is going to read the answer, and based on the answer, the examiner is going to make an idea whether you have understood the concepts of the topic or not. Right. So how to do that? That and this is the reason why these answers, they become so crucial in this process of examination. Why answer writing becomes so crucial in the process of examination. Okay, let's go for a step-by-step guide to improve the answer writing. The first thing, as I started saying a little bit earlier, is to understand the question, understand the demand of the question. See, in every question, you'll find certain keywords, right? The first thing I would say, break down the question. Break down the question and look for those keywords. Keywords like, say, discuss, explain, critically examine, right? There are a host of keywords there. Previously as well, I've shared this list of keywords. Along with this video as well, we will share the list of keywords. What we'll do, we'll upload this video on YouTube after a point of time, and we'll share the link of that video. And along with that video, the list of the keywords would also be given. Okay, so we'll do that again. So whenever you're going to approach a question, to write a question, first break it down in simple parts and look for the keywords, look for the detective words like discuss, explain, critically examine, we know that there are a host of ones, right? Now go for topic recognition. Which topic has been raised in the question, right? The sociological concept, the explicit concept, right? Say the question is about critical examination of Max Weber's bureaucracy. I'm not going to talk about power here. Neither am I going to talk about Verstehen. Now, even for bureaucracy, the question is asking me to critically examine or to critically evaluate, right? So I have to be very specific with respect to that. First, I have to find out what critically examination means or critical evaluation means. Then I'm going to look at the concept, the very specific concept that has been raised here, right? Then I'm also going to look at if the question has multiple parts or not. Now, what do I mean by multiple parts? Let me show you something here. I'm going for screen share. Let me show you what I mean, what I exactly mean by multiple parts. I hope the screen is properly visible to everyone. Okay, see, the first question, I'm going for only the first question. The second question I'll use for some other purposes. Let's go for the first question. Both the questions, actually here we have three questions for that matter, right? But both the questions are, all the questions are from 2016. Okay, let's look at the first question first. Elucidate the basic premise of Davis's structural functional theory of social stratification. I'm quite sure while going for stratification, while studying the topic of stratification in paper one, you have come across the theory, the understanding of stratification by Kingsley Davis and Wilbert E. Moore, right? Here, this particular question, it's divided into two parts. See, the first part I'm talking about, that is essentially focused on the understanding of Kingsley Davis, right? That theory of Kingsley Davis, where he is talking about stratification being inevitable in every society. He's associating stratification with the rewards given by the society, rewards and prestige given by the society. And he says that those rewards and prestige and all these things, they're given based on the uh, posts hold or the functions which a particular person can perform, right? So that's how he's looking at stratification. So here in the first part, the question is asking me to elucidate. Elucidate means to discuss it in a very easy and lucid language. And while doing so, the question is also asking me to use an example, a real life example. And in part two, that is properly being made clear, how far is it relevant in understanding contemporary Indian society? Right. Elucidate on its own in any way mean that I have to use real life examples. And then part two is also telling me that let us take those real life examples from the contemporary Indian society. Let's talk about civil servants as an example here in contemporary Indian society. Why this craze for civil services? Essentially because the reward that is given by the society, not only the salary, along with the salary, the perk visits, right? The quarters, bungalow, car, staffs, the perk visit that comes in. In addition to that, also comes the social prestige that is accorded to the civil servants. And all these things are given based on the functions which are done by the civil servants. Now, so that's how we have to understand the question. We have to break down the question. We have to identify the explicit keyword, the keyword that is being used. And based on that, now go for the basic theme, the concept that has been raised here, right? So this is the first step I'm saying, right? This is only the first step. This is the step only for how to go for identifying the question or understanding the question, right? Now, at the same point of time, I would say that understanding the question alone is not good enough, right? You've understood the question, okay, you have identified the keyword, and then you've also identified the sociological concept or the theory that has been raised in the question. If there is any subpart, you've also taken the subpart into consideration. But now, how to write the answer? This first discussion was about understanding the question. But equally significant is also structuring the outline of the answer. How to do that? See, any answer for that matter is ordinarily divided into three parts: introduction, body, conclusion. Right. Any well structured answer would typically be having these three parts. Right. Now the question is how to go for the introduction, what to write in the introduction. Sorry. So there is no fixed formula. Let me be very honest here. But ordinarily, what we suggest in the introduction, either define the term that has been raised, right? Or go for the set context. Say the example that I gave you, question number 2A of 2016, the example that I gave you. In that example, what I'm looking at the uh, key context here. That is structural functionalism or stratification as studied by the structural functionalist called Kingsley-Davis, right? So the key context that has to be raised here, that primary consideration here is stratification, the study of stratification by the structural functionalists, right? If required, reframe the question. Don't use the exact question, reframe the question in your own words. And that too can be used in the introduction to break it down, to simplify. Okay, this is what we are going to discuss in the main body. Okay, so yes, you can do that as well. All the three mechanisms can be used, whether whether you can define a keyword, right? Whether you can go for setting the context, or you can reframe the question, break it down, simplify, and discuss that in the introduction by saying this is what we are going to discuss in the body. Okay. Say, for example, if I was talking about the critical examination or critical evaluation of Max Weber's theory of bureaucracy, right? Define bureaucracy. Define bureaucracy in the introduction. That too we can do. Similarly, we can go for the main body, right? Not we can, we should. After introduction, next should be the body. Firstly, the body should be divided into multiple paragraphs. Learn writing in paragraphs. Yes, at times, if required, say I'm supposed to discuss the features, or I'm supposed to discuss the various aspects, the various impacts, I have to write point-wise. But don't make it unnecessarily. Don't unnecessarily try to write point-wise. Okay? And every paragraph should have its own context. Clear? So again, I'm restarting myself in discussing the main body. The body should be divided into multiple paragraphs. Each paragraph should address a specific aspect or subpart of the question. Say the example that I gave, the example of stratification, study of stratification by the structural functionalist called Kingsley M. Davis. Right, Kingsley Davis. So when I'm looking at Kingsley Davis, his study, right? What to do? First, divide. Okay, we are essentially going to study stratification here. We are also going to go for the structural functions as perspective, and then go for the discussion of Kingsley Davis. So this way, learn to divide the answer in multiple paragraphs. Right? Learn to divide the main body into multiple paragraphs, and then each paragraph should address a very specific aspect of the question. And that's the reason why in the beginning I said divide the question into multiple parts. It becomes easier in that way to answer that question, right? use the theories and thinkers. Say here to the example that I gave you. In this example, a thinker was specifically mentioned. Say, for example, if a thinker is not specifically mentioned, then what to do? Right. Let me try to find out one such example here. I'm going to go for the screen share once again. Say this question. Discuss the contemporary trends in family as a response to social change in modern society. Right. First of all, look at the keyword discuss. Okay. Now the question is family. Family is the main concept, the key concept to be handled here. But within family, what we are going to look at, we are going to look at the contemporary trends in family, that too, which are happening because of the social change in modern society. Right. So if I have to write this answer, what I should be talking about, number one, yes, obviously, I would be going for how the joint family system, the old joint family system in India, is gradually breaking apart. And in that perspective, I'm looking at rise of nuclear family. While I do accept that nuclear families are on the rise, but at the same point of time, the joint family values can also still be seen. The nuclear families in the urban areas, say two or three brothers when they're coming to the urban area and starting to living in the urban area, right? The joint family values can still be seen. And in that respect, I'm looking at works of K.M. Kapadia, Milton Singer, Pauline Kolenda, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use those thinkers as well while writing this answer to substantiate my point of view, to substantiate my opinion. I hope I'm making any sense to you people, right? Sure. So now in this backdrop, let's look at this is what I was saying. Okay, yes, we need to go for um, dividing the body into multiple parts, and then in these multiple parts, what we should be doing. Number one, we should be discussing the various dimensions, and then we should also be going for using the theories, the various theories of the thinkers, right? If required, go for examples, use examples, and always go for a balanced view. The view should always be very balanced. Say the question is asking you to critically examine, right? Again and again, I'm using one question here because today in the morning only I was writing the answer of this particular question. Critical evaluation or critical examination. First of all, critical evaluation is separate, critical examination is separate. Don't confuse between them. Uh, those keywords, they are separately dealt with. You can easily find those keywords in the material that will be shared with you people. So that goes there. But say critical examination of Max Weber's theory of bureaucracy, if I have to go for that, right? Not necessarily I'll have to be unnecessarily critical to the concept, but I need to take a balanced view. Okay. Say when I'm talking about Max Weber's theory of bureaucracy, I know that Weber himself at one point of time says that the bureaucratic society, in its effort to be rationalized, at times would become over rationalized. Bureaucracy would tend to lead towards over rationalization and would start creating the rational iron cage, right? So that's one drawback of the over bureaucratization. At the same point of time, Max Weber is giving me only the concept of bureaucracy and showing bureaucracy as something which is helping the society. Max Weber is also essentially a functionalist. But I know that Robert King Merton, he told us that nothing can be purely good, nothing can be purely bad. So there has to be some drawbacks of bureaucracy. And exactly that's where this tendency of bureaucracy to over rationalize, to create a rational iron cage, which in India we know in the form of bureaucratic rentipism and these kind of things. they may also tend to happen, right? So that discussion should also be there. Clear? Not only the good parts, but also the bad parts. So go for a balanced view. Always go for a balanced view. Okay. If it is a long question, say for example, the answer that you're writing is a 20 word answer, right? 20 marker. Not 20 word answer, 20 marker, sorry. Right. If it is a 20 marker means we know that we have to write 300 words there, right? If possible, use a diagram as well. Go for diagrammatic representation as well. In case of long questions, in the short notes, avoid it. To save time, to work on time, there are other mechanisms as well. In the next workshop, we'll be talking about those mechanisms, how to use other tools to improve your presentation of the answers. But in the long answers, yes, definitely you can go for diagrams. Okay, that too is possible. So you can do that. I'm not going for discussing the uh, presentation aspects here in this workshop. So let's stick to only the structuring of the answer. And then lastly, I would say while going for the conclusion, summarize the key points. The key points that you have discussed in the main body, summarize them, right? Restate the main argument, the main discussion, put it in very brief in the conclusion. That you can do. Or you can provide a forward-looking perspective. You can always say, okay, this can be the next step forward. That can also be given there, right? So that's how the conclusion should be. Ordinarily, what we do, we give the analysis in the conclusion. Now, instead of giving the analysis in the conclusion, in the body, the conclusion should be there to summarize the basic concepts, the key concepts of it. Okay, so this is how ordinarily I would suggest to structure an answer. Okay. Now I'm opening up the platform for you people. If you have any doubt, you can easily ask your doubts. You can easily raise your doubts, and I would like to address those things. I'm opening up the platform for you people. See, even here, I'm actually following the structure of the answer. I'm doing this first. I'm taking your concepts first or your doubts first. And then in the conclusion, again, I'll be revising whatever I've discussed in a small summary. That's how the conclusion should be. Clear? So anyone, any question as such? You can unmute yourself, guys. Okay. So let me share the basic summary here. What we discussed. Firstly, my primary concern was structuring the answer, right? What I have done, I have divided this aspect of answer writing, how to write proper answers, how to write good answers into 3 workshops, small workshops. This way, what happens? Because I'm sharing small dimensions of the overall concept, it's easier to retain for a student or for an aspirant. That's the reason why I have divided this discussion into these small workshops. In the first workshop, I talked about writing skill development. I talked about how to improve the quality of English writing, right? In today's workshop, I am going for structured answers, writing structured answers based on the demand of the question. Now, to go for the demand of the question, to go for a structured answer writing, so I told you that the demand of the question has to be understood. So how to understand the demand of the question? I said, read the question carefully, break it into multiple parts, identify the key words which are being used, the key dimensions which are being used. Okay. Then simultaneously go for uh, the key theories which are being raised in the question. And also try to find out whether the question is divided into multiple parts or not. Okay. So you have to weigh the multiple parts of the questions equally. And you have to understand the demand of these multiple parts. At times, it may seem that the question is divided into multiple parts, but they are actually the one simple question, one single question. The question number 2A, which I gave you in the discussion, let me show it to you once again. Though it seems that this question is divided into two parts, it's essentially one single question. Why it's essentially one single question? Because look at the keyword, which is elucidate. We know while elucidating, what we have to do, we have to discuss the concept in easy and simple language, lucid language. And then we also have to use real life examples. And in part two is already telling me that the real life example should be from contemporary Indian society. Right? Next question, if I look at question number 2B, it's saying describe the functional prerequisites of social system as given by Talcott Parsons. Examine in the context of a university as a social system. This is not asking me to this question the part one sorry, the part one talks about the part one is asking me to describe. While describing, it is never necessary to give an example. Now, but the part two is actually raising one example in front of me to analyze. Right? So here in this second question, I may say that the question is actually divided into two parts. The first question is not. The first question, second part that you're looking at, how far is it relevant in understanding contemporary Indian society? That is actually part of the first question only. Why? Because the first question has the keyword of elucidation, which is necessarily asking me to look into a real life example. So whether they write the second part or not is not necessary. One relevant aspect is there of the second part, that I have to use example from India. I could have used example from elsewhere in the world. But now, the second part has made it clear that I have to take the example from contemporary Indian society. That's the only utility of the second part in the first question. But the second question is actually divided into two parts. And that you can only understand if you read the question carefully. If you read the keyword, if you understand the keyword, if you understand the basic concept, the basic theory that is being raised, and then you also look at the second part that is given. Right? So that's how one should go for understanding it. Say here in the third question that I'm looking at, this is also a question of 2016 only. I don't remember which particular question this is part of, but there's also a 20 marker. It says discuss the contemporary trend in family as a response to social change in modern society. This question is also divided into three parts. The three aspects to be taken note of. Number one, discuss, the keyword. Number two, contemporary trend in family. Right? And this contemporary trend in family, it has to rise because of the social change in modern society. Right? And that's how I have to look at it. So here, though the question is written in one single sentence, I can visually identify three different parts of the question. Okay? So this way, while going through the question, please always, it's preferable that always you go for understanding the key concepts and you divide the question in multiple parts. Then go for, right? There, I said that in introduction, you can follow three things. You can do three things. Number one, if there is a key concept, you can define that key concept. Say stratification, what stratification is. Or family, you can try to define family. Right? Similarly, we talked about functional prerequisites of Talcott Parsons. What are the functional prerequisites? Why are they called functional prerequisite? The very term functional prerequisite. With that also, you can start the introduction, right? That's one way of writing introduction. Another thing that you can do You can reframe the question, rephrase the question, and you can use that as well, right, in the introduction. Then comes the main body, as I said. In the main body, learn to divide the main body into multiple paragraphs. And each paragraph should be addressing one aspect of the question, right? One aspect of the demand of the question. And then comes the conclusion part. And I said that in conclusion, acha, in the body, by the way, I have also told you that if required, substantiate your answer with thinkers, with the works of the thinkers, with real life examples if required, right? You can also use current affairs there if necessary. You can do that as well. And then in the conclusion, summarize the concepts, right? Summarize what you have written down in the main body. That's how the answer should be structured. I think I have a question here in the chat session. Okay. The mentorship program, which this question is about, an overview of the mentorship program that we are going to start from 22nd of September. What we are going to do on every Sunday, I'm breaking down the whole program for you people. On every Sunday, in the morning, I'll try to schedule the session in the morning, say around something around the timing is preferably to be around 9, but if required, we can prepone it further, right? I'll be talking to the students based on their requirement. Will decide. We can also prepone it to uh, 8 in the morning, right? There'll be a 1 hour or 1.5 hour session in the morning on every Sunday, and in that session, we will be discussing one concept, one aspect of the syllabus, right? We are also sharing the schedule. To Rakesh and to others, please get in touch with the people who are dealing with Ramya ma'am, Sojana ma'am, who are dealing with these things. Get the schedule from them. The schedule is already prepared. So the topic which is mentioned in the schedule on Sunday in the morning, I'll discuss that schedule first. Discuss that topic first. That topic will be discussed in details. After that, we will share material, concerned material on that topic. We'll give you 1 week's time. You prepare. Next Saturday, early in the morning, the question paper will be shared with you people on the same topic. So these are sectional tests. These are sectional tests on those very sections which were discussed on Sunday, right? The question paper would be consisting of 5 short notes, 2 long questions of 1 hour duration, 7 questions in all. Okay. Saturday in the evening, sometime Saturday in the evening or at night, it can be late at night as well. It can be 9 p.m. as well. We will schedule the discussion session, right? Where the discussion of the answers will take place. Next Sunday, that is the very next day, again, we will take up a new topic. We'll discuss that new topic first. We will give you the materials and the same cycle will go on. This way, by March, we will finish the whole syllabus first. So in this process, what's happening? We are revising as well. We are revising the various aspects of the syllabus as well. And at the same point of time, we are going for sectional tests on each and every section. Practically, my suggestion is take the answer discussion session as a revision. That too is a revision. Okay. So there, not only the various dimensions of the answers will be discussed. If you have any further doubt, do clarify those doubts as well. Okay. And by March, by end of March, let's finish the whole syllabus. I would suggest, see, sociology, I don't think sociology, you have studied sociology in your graduation or in your master's. So do not create a gap between you and sociology of more than 2 months. Your prelims would be on 25th or 26th of May, 25th of May, if I'm not wrong, 25th of May, 2025, right? So the gap between you and sociology should be not more than 2 months. If you do that, what will happen? You will lose all the touch, all the contact with sociology as a subject. So after prelims, when you start your revision, you'll have to start from these scratches. Don't do that. So at least till end of March, be in touch with sociology. Even here, we may finish this test series based mentorship program by mid of March. But I would suggest you to keep on revising till end of March. Once prelims is over, we will schedule full mock on the sociology syllabus, right? 4 on paper 1, 4 on paper 2. That's how the program is going to go on. Clear, Rakesh? Now, any other doubt if you have, I would like to address that doubt as well. The doubt from the topic that we discussed today. Guys? Okay, sure. Then let's end the session here itself. Okay. We are meeting once again on next Sunday. Next Sunday, the topic would be presentation of the answers. How to present the answers properly. That would be the primary concern. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.